Okay, it's time for a new movie review, and this time, as you can see, it's of the movie Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, I've grew up being a big fan of the Ghostbusters franchise. Love the first movie. I enjoyed the second movie, although the second movie wasn't as good or well received as the first one. I mean, it had a bit of classic, although I know it gets a lot of hate. But I actually still rather enjoyed it. But you can't beat the classic of the first Ghostbusters movie. But I enjoyed the second one. Now they did do a remake of Ghostbusters with all female Ghostbusters, and obviously that didn't do very well. That was there was a lot of controversy behind that because people were saying that they didn't like it because that they were all for female Ghostbusters. Now, my quick personal thoughts on the original, not original, the remake Ghostbusters is, for me, it was nothing to do with the fact that they were women. For me, it just wasn't very funny. It's almost as if they were trying too hard of it. The special effects were decent in places. I do like the fact how you saw how they came up with the actual weapons. But what to me what was great about the Ghostbusters original one is that all four characters, Ray, and all the rest of the team all had their own individual, personality. So you had Winston was the everyday man. Obviously Ray Stance was really into the what was really into the occult and stuff like that. Same thing with Egon Spangler, that he was the same way where he was really into it. So much so that when he was trying to joke, he was almost using the scientific words to kind of joke. And then also you had Peter Bateman, who was kind of the joker or the game show host, so to speak. And that's what made the film kind of really good. It was a mixture of a little bit of horror and comedy, and the fact that we're trying to play the film was being played straight, but yet was funny and it was horror to me. And that's what kind of made it good, really great, because of the chemistry and the dry wit of Bill Murray as Peter Bateman, and as all the characters having their own individual personalities. And whereas in the remake, it just felt like they were trying to be way too funny, all of them at the same time, and it didn't feel like that you got to know the people individually. But it just felt like to me that they were trying, too hard to be funny. But yeah, over the years they were trying to do a Ghostbusters 3, which is what this essentially is. And every time they would give a script to Bill Murray, he kind of wasn't interested in it, and I think he had fallen out with Harold Ramis, and then unfortunately, Harold Ramis sadly passed away. So the fact that it kind of diminished the idea of even ever seeing the original Ghostbusters, who did appear cameo in the actual remake. But it isn't really a spoiler, but it's no spoilers. Isn't a spoiler. People should know by now. But that everybody makes a cameo in this. The only person that doesn't is Rick Moranis doesn't make a cameo in it as his character, but everybody else did, and I thought for me it was a really kind of a nice touch. Now, the film was directed by Jason Ritman, whose father was Ivan Ritman, who his father sadly passed away just after the release of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Another interesting fact that I'm not sure many people know, but obviously with Jason Ritman being the son of Ivan Ritman, Jason Ritman actually appeared in Ghostbusters 2. He was the guy where Winston and Ray were at this birthday party, and then he says to them that his father said he said his father the little kid says to Ray and Winston that his father told him that the Ghostbusters suck, and that's why they went out of business. So that was actually a very young Jason Ritman. And also his sister is actually is also in Ghostbusters 2 as well. The bit where Dana Barrett goes to Eagle for help because obviously her baby Oscar, obviously in the beginning, gets pulled along the pram, and then she's in the bit where where you see the little girl behind the screen, and then she's holding this puppy, and then when Egon gets a kiss on the cheek from Dana, he goes, "Now let's see what happens if we take away the puppy." So that was Ivan Reitman's daughter. So when there were stories about that Jason Ritman wanted to direct feasibility at Ghostbusters 3, there was a lot of hype and around it because of the fact that when he was given the talk about what he wanted from Ghostbusters, he seemed to understand, as a fan of the series, of the franchise himself, of what people wanted in a new Ghostbusters film. And for me, without doubt, I can say that this film for me absolutely delivered. But it isn't without its fault here and there. So it's directed by Jason Ritman, written by Gil Keenan and Jason Ritman, based on Ghostbusters by Dan Aykroyd and the late Harold Ramis, and it was produced by Ivan Reitman, starring Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, Anna Potts, Ernie Hudson, Paul Rudd, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray. Now, the release date for the film, according to this, it came out, I think, on August 23rd, 2021, and November 19th, 2021 in the United States. The film has a running time of 124 minutes, and it was made on a budget of $75 million, which is $75 million, which is actually good comparing to the fact that we've seen a lot of these big blockbuster movies, especially the Marvel ones, and some of the DC ones now have been a budget of over 200 million. I mean, having to recoup that. So it's nice to see that it was made on a smaller budget. And in the box office budget in total was $204.4 million that it made. So, you know, that's kind of great. Apparently, it says here that a third film was in development since the release of Ghostbusters 2, but it's all because of Bill Murray didn't want to return to the series, and obviously Harold Ramis died on February 24th, 2014, as we already know. But finally got this. Now, so the basic premise of the film is that the film starts off with, we see a much older Egon Spangler trying to escape something. Some of his goals trying to capture him, and then his car gets turned over, and then he goes into this where it looks almost like a haunted mansion. And then what I thought was really great is that you actually see they've used CGI. So what they've done is that they've got another actor, dressed the actor exactly like him, but then just CGI'd the face. Now what's really great about this is that when you've seen the whole sequence of Egon in the car, and obviously the car's turned over and he's running to the obviously to his house, you don't see a complete full glimpse of his actual face. You see bits of it, which is kind of, so you know enough that it's him, or what Egon would have looked like, or Harold Ramis would have looked like if he had still been alive. And I thought that was very cleverly done in terms of the shots where you don't see a complete full shot of him. You only see a glimpse of it. I think that was very cleverly done. Very good use of CGI in my opinion. And then obviously something happens where his character is killed, and I didn't find it distasteful at all, because the fact that obviously that, how would you explain the other Ghostbusters appearing in it without Egon in it? You have to do you do the trick where you pretend like he's still alive and he's not around, but he's still alive in the movie franchise, which I think they handled it really well in terms of this will play out in terms of what happens in the end. Then we flash to this family who we see. We find out that it's Egon's estranged daughter, Kelly, and basically she didn't have a great relationship with Egon, because she feels that he didn't show her any love, and he basically took more pride in his work rather than wanting to be a father to her, which he never was. So she sits there now has this built up rage on the fact that she hates Egon. Although this will all play out later on again in terms of why he was so distant from his daughter. And again, very clever writing, very cleverly done. She has 2 children, which I'm trying to remember. She's got I'm trying to look here. She's got so the daughter's called Kelly Spangler. She has a son called Trevor Spangler, played by Finn Wolfhard, and she has a young daughter called Phoebe Spangler, played by McKenna Grace. Now, in terms of the actual casting, I thought it was great casting, because when you kind of look at Trevor Spangler, also played by Finn Wolfhard, you kind of would, if you've seen Harold Ramis when he was much younger, he kind of does look like him. You could, well, not so much looks like him, but you could kind of believe that he would be his grandson, so to speak, like they're related. I think it's more so the curly hair, and especially with Phoebe Spangler, played by McKenna Grace, who she looks the spitting image of her grandfather, right down to the fact that she wears her glasses, curly hair, and then she's really into science, which kind of makes her an oddball, or makes it kind of difficult for her to kind of mingle with normal people, because she's actually very intelligent for her. She's very, very intelligent for someone of her young age. So you can definitely tell that she's got it from her grandfather. They then end up getting kicked out of their apartment because of the fact that they haven't been able to pay for the rent. So then Callie finds out that her father obviously passed away, and they've inherited his house, and which looks really spooky. And there's some actual quotes that you see on the sides of the house, and then they're quotes from the Bible, and what were also used in the original Ghostbusters film. Now, what's really great about this movie, you see loads of Easter eggs and certain things. It's like a love letters, so to speak, or Easter eggs from the original Ghostbusters movie. Now, you don't know, unless I've missed something, you didn't see too many little Easter eggs from Ghostbusters 2, although there actually is one which involves Ray. Although it does follow on from Ghostbusters 2, but it doesn't kind of really talk about it. It more or less focuses more on the events of Ghostbusters 1, which is nothing wrong about it, because again, I liked Ghostbusters 2, although a lot of people didn't. Especially, a bit biased because I love the soundtrack, and that was it. The On Our Own soundtrack by R&B star Bobby Brown, classic tune. So Trevor then obviously sees a girl working at a diner. He then decides to fill out an application, goes to work there just because he thinks he's kind of in love with her. Phoebe gets enrolled into his summer school, and then she meets this kid called Podcast. He's actually really funny. He kind of reminded me of Ray in terms of his enthusiasm of the acceptance of ghosts and conspiracy theories. So he was kind of cool. Phoebe does find it's another thing I thought was great in the film, where Phoebe's playing chess with this ghost, who at first you think to yourself, well, is this going to be a bad ghost or a good ghost? Because also the chess moves. You then later find out who the ghost really is, and it's somebody very familiar and somebody close to her, which I won't spoil. That was really great. She finds his device, Egon's device, which obviously allows her to scan for ghosts. And I think it's the EPK meter. I think that's what it's called. And then they do find this hidden, her and Podcast find this hidden room that Egon was working on, and they end up seeing a ghost that loves eating metal. She then gets help by this particular ghost in repairing the proton pack, which is obviously completely falling apart. So they then sit there and try to go after the ghost with the proton pack. They try to trap it, but by the time Podcast throws the trap, the ghost is already gone. Meanwhile, Trevor and his new friend go up the top of this mountain, and then they see this well, and then they hear the word of Gozer, which also again ties with the first Ghostbusters film. And then they podcast and prior to this with the ghost, Phoebe and Podcast go to this mine where they see this stuff to do with Gozer, and they see this body in there, which is kind of really creepy. It kind of reminded me of Ghostbusters too, with the ghost bodies in there. I didn't realise that that particular character was it Ivan Chandler, who's mentioned in Ghostbusters 1. Believe it or not, funny enough, was played by the actor J.K. Simmons, which I didn't even realise. I thought the voice, when you see him toward the end of it, the voice sounded very familiar, but he just looked totally different. It's only when I watched the end credits that I kind of realised that it was him. Sometimes you can't put a voice to a face. And then Trevor decides he finds the Ecto 1, which is obviously falling apart, manages to repair it, finds Phoebe and Podcast. They then go after the ghost, and which they manage to catch, but not without wrecking half of the town. And then what ends up happening is, I think one of the ghosts, obviously they get arrested, but then their equipment is all confiscated. And then what ends up happening is that one of the ghosts escapes. Obviously, those two dog creatures where you got the key master, and the other one. So obviously they end up taking over Paul Rudd's character and Kelly Spangler's character. This then releases the return of Gozer, who we've seen in the first movie. Gozer can be whoever it wants to be. Obviously, it's not the same actress. They've got a completely different actress to play, but she did completely look the part. And then while Phoebe, Trevor, and Podcast are in jail, Phoebe says that they're very entitled to a phone call. So then she rings up the Ghostbusters number that you've seen in the ads, the ads for the Ghostbusters in the original Ghostbusters movie. And then obviously Ray's still working in his shop, which we did see him in Ghostbusters 2. He basically tells her to kind of let it go because it will, because of what the stuff it becomes an obsession. Phoebe then tells he then tells a story of what happened between why Egon and the group split up, because apparently there were less ghosts, and then one day Egon took the Ecto 1 and all the proton packs and all these traps and then took off, and then never spoke to him again, and then tried to sit there and talk to him 10 years later, but then they didn't kind of want to know, so they all went their separate ways. Phoebe then tells her Ray that Egon's passed away. So then he asks, "Who is this?" And then she goes, "I'm Phoebe Spangler." And then obviously the call gets cut off. So again, as I said, they managed to get the equipment back from the police station using that ghost that eats metal, and then they basically tried to take on Gozer, which obviously doesn't work. So they managed to save their mum, but not the Paul Rudd character yet. And then Gozer uses Trevor's friend as to turn her into a dog, so that that Gozer can complete his form. And then we see the return of the three original Ghostbusters, which was absolutely great. Seeing Ernie Hudson, Bill Murray, and Dan Aykroyd again. That was absolutely fantastic. I didn't ever think that Bill Murray would actually agree to play his character again, because I said before, the history of trying to do a third Ghostbusters film after Ghostbusters 2, which then didn't do as big as the first one. He apparently wasn't too keen on the script, but did it anyway. And it was just fantastic seeing them again. Although we did see the characters, we saw the actors in the Ghostbusters remake, but not obviously playing the same characters. It just felt like I think they were contractually obliged to appear, they had to appear in it. But it was just seeing the old gang back together, and then Peter Venkman was still with his dry wit again, and then even Goals are saying, "Are you a god?" And then them saying, "Yes, we're all gods." It was just absolutely amazing. They then tried to take on Goals up, but then Goals was far too powerful. Phoebe then sits there and tries to take on Gozer, and it's kind of a battle between Gozer and then Phoebe, and then all seems to be lost, but then Phoebe gets a helping hand from a very, very familiar face, who I won't spoil, but you probably will work out who it is. And it was just seeing the other three Ghostbusters reaction to the person that turns up to help Phoebe, and also they end up beating Gozer. And then the whole plan was, what Egon was trying to do was, he was trying to capture. He had the traps all around the area, all around the area of his mansion, and he was trying to capture Gozer. And that's what his plan was. And now they say their goodbyes to this particular person, and Callie Spangler makes a heartwarming rekindling of a relationship with a certain somebody. And that to me, I don't know what it was, but that to me brought a tear to my eye. And I'm not the kind of person where I cry at everything, because I don't, but it's just, for me, it's probably because of my love for Ghostbusters, and because of the actor Howard Ramis, and the way that they treated his character, and the way they brought him back using CGI, and it was cleverly done. Because some movies overly do it, and then sometimes it kind of just distracts from the film. But for me, it was perfectly done in the way they kind of set it up. And as I said before, this movie had a lot of references and things that were tied to the first Ghostbusters film, which I think was really great. You can tell that that Jason Reitman had a lot of passion for the movie, and knew that the fans had a lot of passion for the movie, and that all poured out onto the actual movie itself. So it was a really, 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 really good movie, even to the original Ghostbusters theme with Ray Parker Jr., or the original Ghostbusters sound scores that were used in the original Ghostbusters are used in this one. In Ghostbusters 2, it was a completely different sound score that they used throughout the whole movie. It was completely different, but they used the sound scores from Ghostbusters 1, which was absolutely really, really great. We then get there's two post-credit scenes where we see one with Dana Barrett and Peter Venkman, and again this particular scene ties into something that happened in the beginning of Ghostbusters 1. We then see another post-credit scene at the end of it with Winston taking the Ecto-1 back to the original Ghostbusters headquarters, the firehouse, and then him saying he's gonna fix up the Ghostbusters. He's gonna fix up the Ecto-1. But then we sort of see a little bit more with him, where he's become successful, and Ray earning his shop, he's paying for the rent, and then he's become successful. And then he goes, and he was saying about what each of the Ghostbusters brought to the table. And then I thought it was classic where he says, where Ernie Hudson says, "Well, I thought he was going to sit there and brought the everyday man," which is what he did in the original Ghostbusters film. But he says, "I brought the sex appeal." And then you see him talking with what's her name, with Annie Potts' character from Ghostbusters 1 and Janine Melnis. So obviously she's talked. There's a scene with her and Winston, and then there's another scene with Janine with in the beginning of the film where Callie Spangler and her two kids arrive at her father's house, and then Janine basically is there, and then she says that that Egon was in a lot of debt, and then he wasn't very good with money, and then she was kind of helping him look after everything. So it was nice seeing that, and then obviously we see a little something that happens with the containment unit, which obviously we know the ghosts are back. Now we do know 100% fact that they are making a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife. I don't know if they finished it, because I think the strike is over now, but I don't know if they finished it before the strike or after the strike. Because obviously, even if they have finished it, obviously they're probably going to still do like probably usually they do more pickup shots and stuff like that, so that still probably might happen with this movie. But yeah, they're definitely making a sequel, so that's definitely going to be happening. Because I'm trying to think. Yeah. It says here. It says here in April 2022, a sequel was confirmed to be in early development. Because I know that there was a teaser poster that came out, and it would take place in New York City. So that's awesome. A separate animated film from the Sony Pictures Animation was announced to be directed by Chris Prysky and Jennifer Kulsky, and written by Brenda, I can't pronounce her name. The film is scheduled to be released on March 29th, 2024. McKenna Grace is confirmed to be reprising a role. But it says in December, Gil Keenan took over as director from Ritman, who still remains a writer and producer. So Jason Ritman is not directing the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is effectively his Ghostbusters 3, but still remains as a writer and a producer. Paul Rudd, Finn Wolfhard, and Carrie Coon will also confirm to return alongside Grace McKenna, and on March 20th, 2023, a photo of Ritman and Keenan was posted to the Ghostbusters fan book page, showing them on the set of the new movie, initially titled Firehouse. So yeah, we're definitely getting a sequel to Ghostbusters After. But I said before, I really loved it because it felt like a Ghostbusters 3, and the fact that we got the original Ghostbusters come back, and I mean all four of them. Don't want to explain how, but it was actually really great. Now my only gripes with the actual movie was the pace of it. Obviously, with the film being over 2 hours and 4 minutes long, it did seem a little bit it could have been trimmed a little bit. But once the movie took off, it was kind of really great. It did feel a little bit different in the sense of the fact that obviously that we've seen all the Ghostbusters films, even the remakes, set in New York City, whereas this is obviously filmed in a place called Somerville. So it felt a little bit different. And then also the fact that, this took me a little bit of it, but not too much. But although I did think the cast were great, but obviously that the kids were the Ghostbusters. Although that was a little bit that irked me a little bit, but not enough to the point where it ruined the film. But as I thought, it was great. Again, I love the way how the place, Somerville, was actually with the guy called Ivan Chandler, where obviously where in Ghostbusters 1, where Dana Barrett's apartment block, where the girders that he used, he was building it as a way to bring back Gozer. And what's really I thought was really great is that the mines that they had in the area in the town of Somerville was where Chandler was. He took the metal, the particular type of metal, to build the girders, to build the building in New York City. So it's all completely linked. And then the town is also linked to even Chandler as well, which obviously will ties into the first Ghostbusters film, and that's what I thought was really great about the about the actual movie. How it a lot very not only did you see a lot of Easter eggs with also with the mini marshmallow man and those dog things, which to me looked a mixture of CGI and practical effects because it looked more practical, but obviously done better compared to the first one. But it didn't look to me look completely CGI. And I love the blend, and I think sometimes when it comes to special effects, I like the way how where you can use special effects, where you can use CGI with a mixture of practical effects, and that kind of work. So again, I'm interested to see what they're going to be doing in the fourth Ghostbusters film, and how much the original remaining three Ghostbusters will play a part in the next sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. As I said before, I think I saw it on Sky Cinema. I had it on downloaded the HD version of it, so that's how I watched it. And what I will do is I'm definitely going to pick this up physically as a physical Blu-ray to complete my collection, because I've got Ghostbusters 1 and 2 as a box set, and Ghostbusters 1 and 2 individually as Blu-ray steelbooks. The remake that they did, obviously, I'm not bothering with that. So if I see it, that never happened. Again, it's nothing to do with the women, it just wasn't funny. So again, this movie I definitely will be picking this up as a physical Blu-ray to add to my collection. And that's my review of Ghostbusters. Sorry, sorry it's a bit long-winded, but absolutely really love this movie, and it's a return to form for the Ghostbusters franchise. So yeah, that's my review of Ghostbusters Afterlife.